When a lady drove too fast and ended up in an accident, she thought the worst. Then, however, a dog appeared like a miracle. Welcome to USA Stories channel. Do not forget to subscribe and activate the bell button to receive all new updates. Now let's go to the story. The little town of Pavo is located in the state of Georgia. For as long as she could remember, Shannon Lorio had resided in the peaceful neighborhood. She and her spouse lived together, but they didn't socialize much. They were just private citizens. Shannon had an encounter on January 26th that changed her life. She and her spouse had a disagreement that evening. Despite the fact that arguments are typical in relationships, this one swiftly got out of control. Shannon could not take it anymore. Shannon needed some space above everything else once things went down. Shannon got up to go to her car after leaving the house. It seemed like a drive at night would be the perfect way to unwind. She hopped in the vehicle and drove off. Safety was the last thing on her mind, even though she had been driving for years and was familiar with the regulations. She accelerated because she was upset, and this felt like the ideal way to let it out. She drove faster and faster, her heart hammering against her chest. You would notice how heavily forested some parts of Georgia are if you were to visit. The state is home to many mature trees, which is generally something to be grateful for. However, there are occasions when this might cause issues for motorists or tourists. Long, curving highways with lots of wind are another characteristic of Georgia. People should use caution when driving, especially on the notorious NASCAR road, given the abundance of trees in the area. That route ultimately led to Shannon. She was still on edge from the dispute, even though she was aware of all the cautions associated with this region. Shannon did her best to follow the winding path, although she was not really concerned about safety. She had no trouble turning the car around the first time she came to a sharp bend. She then had to take a different turn. It would not take long for her to realize that this one was unlike any other. The car fishtailed when I entered the second curve, Shannon remembered. Her entire world changed in one instant. Shannon's automobile threw her out of the back window and out of the driver's seat. She lost consciousness as soon as her head struck the glass. The poor woman's head would not stop spinning when she awoke again. Everything was so blurry that she was unable to make sense of the circumstances surrounding her. She sensed that her body was in an awkward posture and that her legs were in the rear seat. Sadly, she was imprisoned. Because of the way my car went into the trees, anyone who was coming wouldn't see me, Shannon stated. The only way someone could have seen her automobile veer so much into the woods was if they had been passing by. Automobiles would have passed by too fast for them to notice anything strange. Shannon became frightened when she saw that no one was coming for her. She lamented the drive that had brought her to this place, and she thought about her husband and their argument. Her body was weak, and she sobbed with the last of her might. Shannon was about to quit up when a stray dog appeared out of nowhere and made its way toward the automobile. This is how a homeless dog saved the dying woman from a vehicle accident. Really, she thought she was stranded there and no one would come looking for her until it was too late. Shannon reflected on the incident and stated, "I thank God that he came across me. I don't know if he was making his rounds. I don't know if he was headed back to his original owner." The woman's life was spared when the dog pulled her more than 100 feet in search of assistance. She was hauled over the meadow and out of the woods by the enigmatic creature. They eventually arrived at the spot directly next to the road. Since drivers were more likely to observe Shannon there, she had a far greater chance of getting assistance. Shannon thought she should do more than just lie down on the ground and wait for a car to pass by, though. Motivated by the pelt's tenacity, Shannon attempted to get herself off the ground. It seemed sense that she had difficulty at first. Still, the dog wouldn't give up on her, so he stepped forward and lowered himself slightly, as though extending his neck toward her. Shannon put her arms around the dog's neck and gave it as good a tug as she could. Shannon got up for the first time since the vehicle accident. She could feel her skin and hair being brushed by the breeze. She wasn't wearing many layers because it was a chilly night. Still, the idea that this dog had gone above and beyond for her made her feel warm. Standing together, Shannon gripped the steady dog as they waited for someone to pass by. Finally, a car appeared. She couldn't tell what sort of car it was because it was dark and she couldn't see properly. Still, Shannon was ecstatic when it finally slowed down to pass her in the dog's location. Leaning against the window, she begged the passengers for assistance with all the power she possessed. "I just wrecked my car," she responded, practically crying. "Could you kindly give my hubby a call?" Shannon must have overexerted herself given her precarious state, since she fainted again very fast. The individuals in the car quickly made some calls while she was asleep and gave her the assistance she required. Shannon was absent for a while. When she opened her eyes again, she found herself laying on a hospital bed. A doctor quickly arrived at her side after learning that she had woken up and asked to remind her of what had transpired. Shannon could still see a little blurry from sleep, but she could see the concern on the doctor's face. The doctor gently called her name, Shannon, and stated, "You have a small bleed in the brain." The physicians and nurses had to decide whether to do surgery on their new patient after receiving the distressing news. Because brain hemorrhages may be extremely dangerous, they wanted to be sure Shannon would be okay by making the best choice possible. Shannon was wide awake in bed during the wait. She had been sleeping, but her thoughts kept returning to the altercation, the collision, and the dog that had saved her life. It seemed like a dream, all that had occurred in the previous 24 hours. It took the doctor many hours to come back to Shannon's room. Thankfully, the medical professionals verified that the bleeding was not severe and that her body will cure itself given enough time to relax. This meant she could return home without the need for any costly or dangerous surgery. Shannon was able to heal completely in the comfort of her own home and with her husband's help. "This dog is such a lovely animal and he accomplished everything. I wouldn't be here now if he hadn't saved me," Shannon remarked. She was full of admiration for the dog. Shannon had initially thought the dog had an owner, but in reality, he was a stray. However, this dog's courageous deed made him unavoidable for the public. The dog was adopted by the Humane Society while Shannon was healing from her wounds. This dog received a lot of attention and was fortunate enough to find a home. Since then, he's been given a moniker that, in the opinion of many, perfectly captures his personality. Hero is his name. Hero ended up in Heidi Drowdy's care. The owner of this Hero dog couldn't be more ideal. She is a canine search and rescue trainer. Hero's training to become a qualified, mission-ready search dog began right away by Heidi. "Right now, we are preparing him for the outdoors. He's doing incredibly well," said Heidi. "It's incredible to consider that Hero had no prior training and was yet able to put himself out there and look out someone in need of assistance. Everyone could see the goodness in his heart." After Shannon told her experience in an interview, the tape was quickly posted online. It has received hundreds of views since then. Shannon expressed her gratitude for the dog that assisted her by crying happy tears at the end of the video. "He will always be my hero." Please remember to subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our videos. If you enjoyed the tale, the next video that plays on your screen will probably move you too.